Introduce the people who have traveled from within the province to be here. So from Realty Executives in Melfort, we have the broker Rochelle. Rochelle, welcome. And she brought with her Gary Stoneman and Elia Tollefson and Greg Reed. So welcome from Melfort. Welcome. And also from Marina, from Dale Riplinger's office, from Regina, from Dale Riplinger's office, Marina Riss, so welcome Marina. And we may have showing up yet, Avril.
I just got an email from her, she got tied up and can't make it.
Okay, so she won't be here. She's the newest franchise in the province in Melfort. In Watrous. I got you on my mind, don't I? So welcome to everyone, and so I'm also very excited to be able to welcome Rich here today. And I'll give you a little bit of info about Rich. Rich is the president of Smart Sales Solutions. He has over 29 years experience ranging from being a top producer, nationally ranked sales award winner, and building sales teams and systems from the ground up for several organizations. As the Vice President of Sales for a national real estate trading company, Rich utilized his knowledge of sales and selling real estate to positively impact the business and the personal life of some of the highest real estate producers in North America. After speaking and meeting with thousands of top producers and tapping into his own success, Rich has captured the knowledge, skills, disciplines, and insights that have created the Smart Sales Solution. Rich is president of Sales Coaching and Training and has clients from Central Oregon to Cape Cod, and now I've written on here, and Saskatoon.
Saskatoon to Cabo.
To Cabo, so he covers North America.
Our next meeting's there.
Yeah.
He lives in Bend, Oregon, where he has lived for 21 years. He's married and has 3 children. And please welcome your trainer and coach, Rich Rudnick.
Thank you, Wayne, and thank you everyone for coming today. It's really great to see you here and be back. It's been just a short 19 months or so since I was here. And if you're wondering why am I speaking about prospecting in probably or arguably the strongest market in North America, you have to take it up with Wayne, because I asked him when we made the decision to come on, I said, Wayne, what do you want me to speak about? And he says, I want you to talk about prospecting. He didn't even flinch. And I think what that says is a lot about Wayne. And I think one of the reasons why he's the success he is he understands the importance of discipline. So some of you may have come to see how in the heck I'm going to put a convincing presentation on the need for prospecting in Saskatoon, but I'm prepared. So we'll bring that on. Let's talk about in this hour or so that we have together what we're going to discuss. I don't want to over push that. First of all, we're going to talk about why prospecting must be a non-negotiable hill for you to die on. By the way, does everybody have notes? Everybody have that? I encourage you to take a lot of notes. This is how we apply and implement what we learn. The other is why most don't prospect. I'm sure it doesn't apply to you, because I'm sure you all prospect, right? But somebody you know probably, right? Probably not in this office either. But we're going to find out why most people don't prospect. We'll actually talk about preparation for putting smart prospecting into your business, and then executing smart prospecting now to advance your business. So let's talk about the first one, why prospecting must be a non-negotiable hill to die on. Why do you think I say non-negotiable?
No other way, because...
No other way? Yeah. I mean, I would agree. What else? Why should this be a non-negotiable hill to die on? Maybe you don't believe it is, and that's okay. The reason why I believe it should be a non-negotiable hill to die on is absolutely the most effective way to grow your business. And let me expand on that. And I work with all industries, mostly real estate. But what I've found is those who do not prospect have an inconsistent, undefined approach towards how the business will grow. They don't know for sure if or how their business will grow. Those that prospect intentionally on a disciplined daily basis can track and see business grow on a regular basis. Let me give you an example on this. In other words, if you want consistent growth, you put the dedication and discipline in, you'll see your business grow. If you increase your at-bats, or in other words, increase your dials or door knocks, where you talk to more people. If you make an intention to talk to more people, will you talk to more people? Yes. Yeah. Of course, you'll talk to more people. There's no way around that. The more attempts you make, the more people you talk to. The more people you talk to, does it increase the likelihood of listing and showing appointments that you would set? Yes. Obviously. The more listing and showing appointments that you go on, does it increase the likelihood of an offer written or a listing taken? Yes. Without a doubt. And on both sides of that, does that increase the likelihood that you'll be presenting an offer, whether you're on the list or buy side, to a seller? Without a doubt. One action begets another. The only way to consistently grow your business is to consistently get at-bats with buyers and sellers. So my premise is the best and most effective way to do that is through prospecting, because it controls your destiny. We deal with high performers across the country. In fact, one of them that you're mentioning, top performers, he's in Dallas, Texas. He did 380 transactions last year. He makes over $3 million in gross commission. One of the things he does every day is prospects. He's very focused on prospecting. Your broker prospects on a regular basis, maybe for agents, but he prospects. He understands that discipline. It works. Those who are very serious about growing their business put that in. And this is something that's really amazing. It costs you nothing. It costs you your time. It does take discipline, and we'll talk about that. This is why 5% do 85% of the business. Now you might say, what's the other math? Well, the other math is 95% do 15. Which side do you want to be on? The side that consistently prospects grows the business. Here's another reason why it must be a non-negotiable hill to die on. It reduces or eliminates your peaks and valleys. How many of you are tired or have been tired of having huge monster months and then several months without many, if any, activity? Then you get some business. It's hard to budget, it's hard to plan. The reason for the peak and valley syndrome is we're inconsistent in growing our business. So here's what I've found. That those people who are out of business and out of pending will, out of desperation, prospect. And guess what? It works. They actually get business. They'll start prospecting, and then all of a sudden what happens? They start managing their pipeline until it what? Closes. And then what do we have? We're unemployed again. We're out of business, okay? So when we consistently, on a daily basis, commit to prospecting, we consistently grow our business. It puts us in an abundant mindset, and I want to be talking about that, and how important that is. It fills in the valleys. Number 3, it is the #1 growth discipline. There are 2 key growth disciplines to grow in business. Number 1 is prospecting. The other is business development. I just spent some time with Randy's group, Randy's a client, talking with his team about plugging that into their schedule, recommitting to that in their schedule, which is the most important. In other words, what has the greatest leverage to growing your business, we seldom do. We're so busy working in our business, we're not working on it. So prospecting is intentional outreach, talking to, we'll talk about your key lead sources, and business development is working on your business, laying track, putting the systems and processes in place to help you get in front of more people, and then obviously the goal is to close more of that business as you do that. Again, all top performers prospect. Let's get some definitions on what that is. So the definition of prospecting from active prospecting would be phone calling. It would be, I would even call open houses, door knocking, anything that gets you a face-to-face, social networking. Not social networking, but networking like in B&I groups and so forth. That would be active prospecting. Passive prospecting would be email, the social networking, anything that's, there's a place for it. You want to be sending out letters and so forth. You want to do that. I don't advocate you not do that, but too often we rest too much on sending the letters out. We need to have contact with the individuals. They need to hear your voice. They need to know who you are. You need to start setting yourself from the rest. Let's talk about why most don't prospect. Now I know it's known in the room. I know you don't prospect, right? Let's talk about why most don't prospect, and I say even at all. It's amazing how many people are in business for themselves. And by the way, if you're not considering yourself a business owner, you need to. This is your business, and business owners need to consistently grow their business. Fear. Let's talk about that. Why most don't prospect. Fear paralyzes. We're afraid of fear, okay? So often, fear holds us back. But there's a couple kinds of fear. One is rejection. The fear of rejection. What if I get hung up on? That's a real legitimate fear, isn't it? What if I call them and they've already chosen another realtor? Well, I got a solution for that one. Why don't you call them before another realtor does, so you don't have that angst and worry? What if they say no? I mean, that's a pretty painful thought. What if somebody you talk to says no? Well, here's some advice and some help, and this may seem simplistic, but I want you to write this down. Some will, some won't. So what? Who's next? Some will, some won't. So what? Who's next? Here's the deal. We are not in the game for the no's. We are in the game for the yes. It takes so many no's to get to the yes. So whenever you get that no, one more down to the next yes. It will happen. You'll eventually get to the next yes, even if you don't work on your disciplines of conversion. We'll hear 20 to 50 more no's than we will yeses. So let's keep that in mind. Let's take the emotion out of the fear of receiving a rejection. They're not rejecting you, by the way. Take the emotion out of it. It's not about you. It's about them and their needs. And we'll talk about how to level shift that out. So you're one step closer to the yes. Don't take it personally. Take the emotion out and focus on the net result. Here's the other fear that we can deal with, and that's the fear of failure. Some perceive no as failure. It's not no at all. It's part of the process. Some have a fear of mishandling the call. Now, there's a solution for that. What's the solution for fear of mishandling the call? Anybody? Practice. Role play. Why is it that real estate professionals, and I'll pick on real estate professionals because that's who this is our group. Why is it that so many real estate professionals feel they can go out and wing it, still even make decent money, when we look at the most successful people outside of, Bill Gates type people that walk in everyday life, physicians, attorneys, actors, what do? They practice. Professional athletes practice way more than they actually play. They put the discipline of practice. Let's not wing it. It works for John Wayne in the movies, but it doesn't work for us. Let's practice and role play. Let's know what we're going to say in advance and have the solutions for you on that. Let's eliminate the ahs and the ums. Now what happens, your confidence goes up. You have thought out what you're going to say to who you're talking to. It puts it at a whole different level. Here's something that I hear. Again, it's probably nobody in this room. I don't want to bug anybody. I don't want to high pressure anybody. Well, here's the reality. We too often put our values into the mix. And first of all, if you don't want to pressure them, don't pressure them. Keep this in mind. Everyone you talk to has a problem or several problems. Does somebody who wants to buy real estate right now have a problem? Absolutely they have a problem. What's the problem?
You want to buy something.
They want to buy something, and so do 10 other people who want to buy their house, right? I mean, you have a multiple offer situation. They need somebody to help them make sure they're not paying too much, they're writing a strong enough of an offer if they want to get it. Does somebody who wants to sell their home have a problem in this market? It may, on the surface, appear like they don't, because it seems like they could put a sign in the yard and people would come. The reality is sellers have problems too in the market like this as well. So they need people like you to solve their problems. Remember, your job is to solve their problems. You're a solution provider. Everyone you talk to has a problem. There are many solutions out there. It's your job to show them why you're the best solution. Point blank, that's it. Creating value is key. Very often, underachievers like to hide under that approach. And some of the stuff that I'm mentioning with you, it's not meant for condemnation on anyone. It's from a conviction standpoint. Our goal is to help move people forward to unlock their potential. And everyone has issues they need to work with. So I'm not picking on anyone in general, but underachievers like to hide under the umbrella of not wanting to bug the other person or high pressure, that feeling like it's taking a high road. The reality is they have problems. Somebody's going to solve them. It might as well be you. It's springtime, and a lot of people are from the farm country, right? So what are we doing? We're sowing, farmers are sowing seed right now. Now, if they sow abundantly, they're going to have a greater harvest in 6 months. If they sow sparingly, their harvest won't be as great. Can't argue with it. Same thing in your business. If you're not prospecting on a regular basis, you're inconsistently sowing seeds. That's what you'll reap in 6 months. Every day we need to be working on 3, 6, 12 months from now, so that 3, 6, 12 months from now we're not looking for now money. For some, this is like an 800-pound gorilla. Is this anyone but me that's an 800-pound gorilla, the phone on the desk? Find out what's holding you back and work to overcome that. Really, it's not that difficult when we start processing through what's holding us back. And I must have passed it up. Did you get that call reluctance survey? Did that get, or maybe just hand that out? I want to just look at that for a minute. We're not going to take time for you to complete it now. If you have an interest and you want to go over the results with me, do this. But in the areas we just talked about, I've got some statements here on overcoming the fear of rejection. If you're struggling with prospecting, it's important for you to find out what's holding you back. And even if you are prospecting on a regular basis, where can you be better? Because I'll tell you, if you break through, if this has been a challenge for you, it will revolutionize your business. It absolutely will. So take a look and see what might be holding you back on this. We have scores on overcoming the fear of failure. And we're going to talk in a minute here about complacency. We'll talk about overcoming laziness. So you have this form. I encourage you to fill it out. Let's talk about complacency. This could be a real issue in this market. Every market presents its challenges. Business is good. Business is coming to me. I don't need to prospect because I have so much coming now. Here's the problem with only processing incoming business. You're losing more than you're taking in. And let me explain that. First of all, how many of you are receiving referrals on a pretty regular basis, or it feels pretty consistent? Referral leads without prospecting on a regular basis. You're not prospecting your sphere of past clients, but you're receiving referrals. Does that apply to anybody? Okay. Here's, and you can write this down, it's called the 20-30-50 rule. 20-30-50. The 20-30-50 rule says this. If you're not prospecting your sphere of past clients asking for referrals, but you handle them well, you're a nice person, and I'm going to say everyone in here is a nice person. I don't think anybody here wouldn't qualify for that. 20% of your past clients or sphere will send you business without you asking for it. 20%. 30% won't do anything no matter what you do. You might get all excited after this time, start prospecting on a regular basis. You might send clowns to their kid's birthday every year. You'll get no more business from 30%. Yet 50%, half of your sphere and past clients, if you create front of mind awareness, will start sending you business that's going elsewhere. What you have to realize is if you're not serving these people, someone else is. Your base is being slowly eroding by the more competitive producers in your market if you're not shoring up at least your spear and pass. I was talking with Wayne last night. If everyone would just secure your spear and pass clients, it would exponentially grow business. And then you would make sure no low-hanging fruit is being picked by your competitors. Strong markets give a false sense of security. Now, by all means, the economy looks really bright and rosy, but it can put us in a place of complacency. Here's something to realize. More people fail in strong markets than weak ones. There's a higher failure rate because there's a false sense of security. And so, just because the market's strong doesn't mean you or I will succeed just because we're riding the times of the market. There's a slow leak in the dam, and in strong markets, they can change overnight, and complacent producers are the first casualties. Now, I've worked with clients in all markets, in very, very tough markets, and we've seen this happen over the years. Complacent performers are the first casualties. That review that I gave you will help you determine in this where some issues may be where you need to improve. Some people don't prospect because it requires too much effort. It's perceived as hard work. Now listen, it takes commitment. It takes discipline to do this on a regular basis. We'll be talking with some of our clients about this. Most of us take the path of least resistance. And in North America, we have the gotta have it now drive-through mentality, right? Instant gratification. We need the magic pill. And that's how we're wired. Unfortunately, that doesn't work well for us in business. It doesn't work that way, even in a strong market. This is why so many overspend in lead generation. Now, I don't know that that's a problem so much in this room, but I found that people who generally don't prospect replace it with overspending in marketing dollars to generate leads. Now, here's generally what we say, because I think there's a place for that. 5% of your gross income max should be dedicated towards marketing dollars. I think you need to have some. But if you're spending 10, 20, 25%, and you don't have the lead conversion stuff in place, I mean, I've worked with clients who have way overspent and they don't even follow up on the leads. I mean, it's ludicrous. Makes us feel better maybe? I don't know. I don't know why that would make us sleep better at night. It would make me toss and turn. But we've got to make sure that we understand the issue here is not lead generation. Here's where real estate agents and other top professionals get hung up on it. It's not about lead generation. It's about lead conversion. What do you do? What do you say once you get in front of the person? But the first step is getting in front of them. We cover with the lead conversion as well. This is not a magic pill. There's no magic pills out there. Listen, we're going to experience pain. We're going to either experience the pain of discipline or the pain of regret by not putting the key pieces in place. And some people, when they have started to prospect, they'll actually talk to a past client or sphere and find out they bought from someone else. Well, that should be a motivator to keep going out, because in some cases you may not realize how much business is being lost by not prospecting. This is the reason why less than 20% that go into business on their own actually make it. The casualty rate is enormous. I coach beyond real estate. Same thing. If they're not committed to discipline and focus, there's been a lot of study on what makes a high performer, who succeeds and who doesn't. You can actually test it to see who has a propensity, and those who don't, the extra steps they need to take to make sure that happens. And usually we're the own barriers to our own success. In this, we need to slay all procrastination and laziness. I know we're all guilty of it, but I'm telling you, it costs money. It costs a lot of money when we don't put the things in place that we need to. Here's a big one. I don't have time. Now, and this is legitimate. A lot of people will say, listen, I'd love to do it, but I have no time to do that. They're maxed out. I couldn't process any more business if I wanted to. Those are legitimate issues. Here's my response to that. you're not appropriating your time and an appropriate priority to grow your business. Prospecting should be number one. In the strongest market with a huge pipeline, it should be your number one daily discipline. Even if it's just a couple calls to keep that going. Because remember, you need to be working for 3, 6, 12 months from now every day. So that 3, 6, 12 months from now, you're not looking for now money. So the solution on that is to make it a priority. And here's the other thing. There's way too much time wasted during the day. I spend a lot of time with my clients working with them on time, on their time management discipline. Time gets away from us. There are many low payoff activities that suck our time away, and time is valuable. It's our most precious commodity. Here's something else. We always make more time for the things we deem important. I'll guarantee it. If you say, gosh, I just don't have time for prospecting, I got so much business going on, then I'll start getting to know you a little bit and ask what do you like to do, and then I'll find some things that no matter what you're there for, which is what it should be. The issue is you haven't made prospecting a priority. It may not be as fun as the other thing that you go to every Wednesday at 5, but it's a priority for you, which it should be, and so should prospecting. Top performers make it a priority, and that's prospecting and business development. Here's something else. If you are struggling with time and you have a large amount of business you're managing, you need to start thinking about support layers, systems or admin support, because what's happened is the lid has come on. Let's say you do prospect or you want to prospect on a regular basis, and you're pretty good at managing time, and there's no more moves left on the checkerboard. You've hit max capacity. That's a problem. You always have to be looking at ways to raise the lid, raise the ceiling, so that you can take more in. You're either going to do the same amount of business in less time, you're going to do more business in the same time, or more business in less time. Any way, any one of those formulas, you win, because life is better. You're either doing more in less time, you're raising your dollar per hour value. So it's important that if you are really stuck in there, you look at getting help, look at getting some support. And if you make prospecting a priority, you don't have to worry about paying for the support person, because that support person will help you get more business. Let's make it a priority. It's your option. High achievers get more done in less time. They're committed to discipline. Have any of you had time to communicate or speak with somebody who's a very, very high achiever? They are dialed in on their day. They're dialed in on their time. They do way more than you possibly imagine. They're excellent delegators. They know what their high payoff activity is, and they stay in it no matter what. And it comes down to honoring themselves. They value themselves enough to take care of themselves so they can take care of more people. Let's talk about call reluctance. It's the 800-pound gorilla. Again, back on that survey, so we started talking about too, and just look back at that. I encourage you to honestly look at yourself. We talked about laziness, we talked about complacency, we've talked about these other areas. Rate yourself. I'm always having my clients rate themselves and find the areas for growth. That's all we're trying to do here. This is not punitive. We're not trying to make anybody feel bad. We're trying to find out where can we grow? What barrier can we remove so you can go to the next level? So that you can become all that you've really been created to be. So I encourage you to take that, and if we have some time today, or if we don't have time to meet, get that to me. I'll be happy to set time later and go over the results, or go over it with Wayne, or go over it with your broker. I highly recommend that. Let's talk about, what are we doing here in time? Perfect. Let's talk about step 3, preparing to execute. All right. Any questions, first of all, on what may keep us from prospecting, on why we should prospect? Does it make sense? Okay.
Rich, do some people find it easier than other people?
Yes.
And why? And who?
Okay. Some of it's behaviorally driven. One of the things we do and we teach is behavior selling, and we have clients take what's called a DISC behavior assessment. We really help our clients to get to know themselves better. People who are more extroverted, I'll say in simplistic terms, are more open to prospecting. because it's an extroverted task or activity. People who are more introverted would prefer more maybe passive approaches. However, I know and I coach people who are introverted, more introverted, who really don't like to. Most people I talk to don't like the prospect, okay? And those who really like to, that's a whole other set of issues, right? That we've got to talk over. But those who are more introverted, and we've helped them break through. And what happens? They get through and say, you know what? It's not that big of a deal. It really isn't that bad. In fact, I'm getting more business. I really actually kind of like it. It's kind of like when we're working out. If you haven't worked out for a long time and then you decide to start an exercise program, what does it feel like? What do you experience early on?
Exhaustion.
Exhaustion. Pain. It's painful. You're hurt. You can't get up in the morning. Well, what happens? You have a choice to make. Either you're going to quit because it's too painful, I don't want to push through, I don't want to persevere, or I'm going to take another day in the gym because I want the results. Pretty soon a week goes by, you find that you're able to do more. Your capacity grows. Pretty soon it doesn't hurt so bad. Pretty soon you start seeing results. Pretty soon you don't want to have a day go by without working out. Similar with this. We have to slave through whatever holds us back, the fears or the barriers, because it's keeping you back from money. Your base is being eroded by other more competitive producers out there. It can potentially put you in as a first casualty status in a market change. And when you push through and do it, it's really not that big of a deal. Right? And then when you learn to handle some of the no's, it's really not that big of a challenge. Yeah. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I do, Rich. So I got a list of X number of prospects.
Yeah.
How do I prioritize those people?
Oh, great question. Oh, that was a great set for this number 3. I'm going to answer that for you here. That's excellent. What a great question. So let's talk about executing. So first of all, we're going to identify our key lead sources. So it sounds like Terry's ready to jump on board. So the first thing we want to do is identify who our lead sources are. So let's talk about that. First of all, your primary leads are what? Your lead sources are what? Universal.
Past clients.
Past clients and who else? Past clients, sphere of influence, and what do we usually get from those two? Referrals. 90% of the business from most people comes from past clients and sphere to get referrals. That's why I say if you do anything and all you do is say, I'm going to really work my sphere and past clients, is we need to gather them and start working them well. So here's some things, some tips. First of all, they're our primary source. We want to learn, when you've identified them, we're going to talk about how we manage those leads, to identify who your net promoters are. You need to identify who your net promoters are. And your net promoters are those who are willing to send you business in mass. You just haven't trained them yet. Let me give you an example. You have some net promoters who send you business. You can probably think of them. They send you business. You hardly even follow up with them. They like you. They keep sending you business. Now, there are certain behavioral types that are more likely to refer business. Influencers are the #1 behavior of people that refer business. They like to be in the know, but they have the least loyalty, so they may do business with other people. Steadies are very loyal. They want to be part of your team. But when you can identify who your net promoters are and train them to send you business in mass, we're at a whole different level. So let me give you an example. By the way, I have some scripts available that if you want to take advantage of that, you can. So, as an example, in a phone call, and you're calling a past client, maybe you don't ask them this every time because you want to be in regular contact. But you haven't asked this question before. John, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being high, how likely would you be to refer someone to me? If you've taken great care of them, what do you think the answer most likely is going to be?
10.
9 or 10. Those that say 9 or 10 are your net promoters. The 9s, they're raving fans. I mean, you can't get any better than that. You have a lot of people who think you are a 9 or a 10. Okay? The ones that say 9 or 10 are your net promoters. Now, here's what you do in the appropriate way to ask for a referral. John, what 2 or 3 names come to mind of someone you know that's looking to buy or sell real estate in the next 6 to 12 months that would benefit from our services? What 2 or 3 names? What's the difference between that and saying, John, if you ever know of anyone, let me know. Here's some of my cards. What's the difference? So it's an important fact. It's an important document, right? It's an agreement, right? It's an agreement. The difference between asking what 2 or 3 names come to mind and asking if you ever know of anyone, let me know, is we're going from generalities to specifics. What happens too often in business is we deal in generalities. What do you want to do this year, John? I want to do 5 million. 5 million what? 5 million volume. Well, how many transactions is that thing? Well, I don't know. That's generalities. Generalities are, if you ever know of anyone, let me know. Or they may say, gosh, I send you business all the time. I give your cards out all the time, and we feel good and we say thank you. What's the problem with that? We don't know who it is. We felt warm and fuzzy. We were nervous just to ask for the referral. We felt relieved that we got that out of the way. And then they said, I send you business all the time. And we leave at that. No. We get the referral names and leads. Great job. Thank you so much. Who was it that you sent my cards to? What's their name? What's their phone number? Would it be appropriate for me to call on your behalf, or would you mind warming the call up for me? Get them working for you. And then call them on a regular basis. John, do you mind if I keep in touch every 90 to 120 days to find out if you know of anyone else? And would you, and if there's any other pertinent information that I can help you with, certainly let me know. So that's sphere and past clients on referral ask. You want to rank your sphere. And I'm going to talk about how we manage them here in just a second. Buyers of listings. This is another source that's most overlooked. I had an interesting conversation about this in our mastermind group. Here's the stats. 50%, over 50% of the buyers of your listing think you're their agent, if you're the listing agent. Most agents fail to follow up and end up abandoning their agent. Now there's some that are locked in, and if you approach them and they let you know, fine. Very often, they're looking forward to you connecting with them. The other agent hasn't. So that's a very overlooked source that we encourage our people to adopt. Here's another one, especially since we're looking for listings. And very few people do this, and very few people do it well. So if you commit to doing it, we teach our clients how to do that. If you want a regular source for getting listings, FSBOs and expires. Now there's not many expires here, and I know a lot of people like find out, check the call factor out, but even going back 90 days or beyond. Those are a great source for leads. Targeted neighborhoods. Those are excellent as well. Sign calls, open house, internet. The key is you want to get all of your leads identified, and we're going to talk about how we manage them and handle them from here. So that's a guy. What are other key lead sources? We got past sphere, FSBO expired, sign call, open house, web lead, internet. What else? Did I miss any? Those are the main ones. Any others? We got it? Did we get it? I think that's it. So next step number 2. Here's what we do. We've identified our leads. Now what do? We need to load them in a CRM. Load your leads in a CRM. The days of working our leads off the back of a matchbook cover are over. Okay, they're long gone. We need to capture our leads and put them into Executive Edge or Top Producer or whatever you're going to use, and appropriately follow up with them. Here's what happens. The feedback on real estate agents by the public clients is, number 1, very poor follow-up and communication, and they under-promise, or they over-promise and under-deliver. Okay, so we're going to do all this and this. People listening never hear from them again. Okay? Huge mistake. Or they put a request in and nobody calls them back. What's the matter? Become the person who calls them back on a regular basis. You'll just eliminate the competition just by following up. They deserve it. I mean, they're looking to buy and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. You stand to make a lot of money doing that. Load your leads in the CRM and commit yourself to following up on it. If you really want to do this and do this well and right, it takes some effort, it takes some commitment. It'll absolutely revolutionize your business. Absolutely change it. Scripts for each source. So what's the next step? The next step is to think out and be planned on what we're going to say when we call them. That's a whole planned approach. So how you approach a past client asking for a referral, how you approach a FSBO or a sign call is totally different. So we want to have, and we have these for you if you wish to get them, to have your planned approach for each one of those leads. Think about what you're going to say. Now the next key on that is batch your leads. So in batching your leads, what I mean by this is, let's say you have 4 past clients that you're calling today, 3 sphere, let's say you're going to have maybe 2 FSBOs and 1 buyer listing. What you do is you batch them. So you call all of your 5 or 4 past clients at once. Why? In the row, language is the same. If you're leaving a voicemail, your initial call is about the same. What happens when you say something over and over and over again? What happens to the language? Yeah, you go to unconscious competence. So it's not scripted. Everything, when I say script, it's to be planned, it's to be thought out, not to be a robot, not to be a telemarketer. It's so you're thought out. So you say something over and over and over again, pretty soon it's unconscious competence. Now you're able to dialogue, get the rapport building that you need, get accomplished what you want, your confidence is going up. So you get better and better with that. And then finally, schedule prospect time. This is not going to happen unless you make a commitment, put it in your calendar and do it. It's not going to happen. We talked about making it a priority. Make it a priority. I recommend first thing in the morning. Get it done. Start no later than 9 a.m. or early evening. The problem with early evening is our energy is usually waned and the day's gotten away from us and it doesn't happen. We come up with excuses to come up. Do it at high energy time when you do it. Schedule high energy time. Don't do it when you're all tired. You don't have to do it. Because why? You're not going to do it. Do it when you're at your best. This is high payoff activity time, business development, business growth time. Do it when you're at your very, very best. Very important. Let's talk about executing. So how do we get started? Did that answer your question, by the way, Church? Did that kind of line that out? So how do you get started on this? Well, first of all, I brought with, if you are interested, I put together a Smart Recruiting CD. I have scripts on there, voicemail and initial call scripts for each source that we talked about. I have a prospect plan, a database lead management team, or a plan for you to go through, and an audio file. If you go on our web, it's $19. You can do it for $10. I take Canadian money, it's worth more than US. So $10 on that. If we run out of that, we can send you the files on that. Here's something that's really important. One of the reasons why I asked you to take notes. Knowledge without implementation is worthless. Knowledge without implementation is worthless. What happens in a training seminar, this is, a short presentation, but typically what happens, maybe even on longer training times, people will go and hope to get 1 or 2 nuggets. I hear that all the time. Oh, I just want to go and try to get 1 or 2 nuggets away. Why? Because knowledge without implementation is worthless, and the stats say you at best can retain 10% of what you take in. That's why we want you to take notes to increase the retention rate, and that we go and implement 1% of that 10%. That's why people come after 2 or 3 days on a training seminar. I just want to take 1 or 2 takeaways. Let's hope they put it in place. Because if they don't put it in place, nothing has changed. So the key is taking action and make that commitment to yourself. This is one key that could absolutely, and it's not the only key, it's one main key that could absolutely take you to a whole different level. And I've seen it over and over and over again, and we'll have some testimony time to talk about what that looks like. The other thing is report and measure. Remember when I said that people that deal in generalities seldom see success, but people who deal in specifics seldom see failure. Here's the reason for that. When we get in from a business plan aspect, those that I work with to set specific goals and plans that then break it down to monthly, weekly, and daily goals, and then report and measure their results and their activity, their likelihood of hitting their goal is infinitely higher than even those that may actually do a business plan and check it in November without any accountability in between. So get accountability. for implementing what you want to put in place. And coaching is an option. And I think some of you know that I do coaching with some of the folks here. And what Wayne thought would be a good idea is to get some Q&A from Kelly. Would you mind coming up, Kelly and Brenda?